Hey, how's it going? My name is Michael Relf. I am an artist and an animator, and the reason why I'm making this video is to show you the technical aspects of how I use Adobe Animate. The reason why I'm making this video and others, Procreate Dreams is next, is that I'll be teaching a class called Animation Fundamentals at Underpaint Academy. It will be an extensive 8-week class with over 32 hours of lecture and critique. As of right now, the critique tier is completely sold out, but you can still sign up for the spectator tier, in which you will have unlimited access to the class recordings, as well as access to a wonderful Discord community for both the class and the school, which I think is awesome. So while I am making this video to promote the class, I also want to make sure that every student has access to the technical information that they might need before they start the class. And then also, regardless of whether or not you want to take the class, I hope that this video can lower the technical barrier of entry for anyone who wants to learn how to animate and wants to learn software to do that. If you're interested in learning Adobe Animate, let's dive into it. All right, so when you first open up a new file, you're going to be greeted with a screen that looks like this. What we're going to do is click on this blue button up at the top right here, New File. Cool, my computer's a little slow today. If it's not already set to full HD, let's do that, 1920 by 1080, and we're going to keep the frame rate at 24. And then we're going to go down here and click Create. When you open up Animate, it might look something like this and it might not. First thing, let's go over to Window and let's go to Workspaces and set it to, I don't know, something else, Designer. I don't really know what that is. That's really ugly. So if you have a layout that doesn't look like mine, go to Window and go to Workspaces and click Essentials. Essentials is what I use most of the time. Now your layout should look something like this. I'm just going to go over a few of the windows really quickly. This is the color window. You have color for both your fill and your line, which we'll get into. You also have your property window right here. The property window is currently set to document, and here you can change things like your resolution and your frames per second. But if I select the brush, for instance, by hitting B, you're going to see that it clicks over from document to tool. And now I can see the properties of my tool. So this menu is contextual depending on what tool you have open. So I'm going to go back to document for now. This is your timeline. We'll go through all these the bells and whistles of it a little bit later. And then over on your left here, you have your toolbar. There's a chance that some tools might be missing from your toolbar. If that's the case, click on these three dots right here and drag anything you don't see. I imagine that the pencil tool might not be in there for you guys. Click and hold the pencil and put it somewhere in your toolbar. You can also rearrange things at any time and customize it. Okay, so that's all the windows. Now, this is everybody's favorite part of anything in the universe ever, hotkeys and like keyboard mapping. And to do that, I'm going to go over to this cute animation right here. It's a way to make something that's really boring a lot more fun. These are all the hotkeys that I use. I'm going to put them up on the screen, maybe over here, so that you can pause the video or write them down or something. I could also put them in the description so that you can copy paste them. What we're going to do with these hotkeys is we're going to assign functions in the program to our keyboard so that this hand can be doing stuff while this hand is drawing. And then we don't really have to look at the interface that much. To get to the menu that you're going to need, you're going to go to Window. That's not right. So you're going to go up here to Edit, and then you're going to come down to Keyboard Shortcuts right here. Once you're in Keyboard Shortcuts, you're going to search for the different terms that I put up on the screen just a moment ago. And I can put them up again a little bit later too. And then you're going to assign them to these keys. If you want to search for a function, you can go into this search bar right here and type in, for instance, next keyframe. And right now I have this assigned to F3. If you want to assign a new shortcut, you can click. You can either hit the X to get rid of it or click on a new key right here. And I'm going to put this period key as well. I'm going to delete that period command because I don't really need it. So you can go ahead and set up all your keys in that way. The reason why I have everything set up the way that I do is that I have a muscle memory for where these keys should be. And I use the same keys in every animation program, so I don't really have to think about it anymore. So if I want to step through one frame at a time, I use these F5 and F4 keys, like so. If I want to flip between different drawings, I'll use these F2 and F3 keys. And this just happens to be very ergonomic for my hand and my setup and my keyboard. So please use what works for you. Other things that are very helpful, Control and spacebar or Command and spacebar if you're on a Mac, and then clicking will zoom. If you hold down Alt, in addition, it will zoom back out. Just holding spacebar will move, and clicking will move around your canvas. So zoom, zoom out, move. Oh yes, okay, so these are very important. Control F6 and Control F7. I keep them locked behind Control for a very specific reason. So if I want to extend the length of just this drawing, I will click on it, and then Control F7 will add an additional frame. You can see right there, or another one. If I don't have it clicked and I just have the playhead selected up here, it will apply to the entire document. And you can imagine how destructive this could become. I could remove this frame, remove this frame, remove this frame, maybe accidentally remove an entire drawing. So that's why I have it here behind Control. Let me undo all of that. So I'm not accidentally hitting one of these keys and accidentally deleting things. Another very handy shortcut, which is already near where my hand is this key right here, this tilde key. So if I hit this, it will clear the canvas so I have the entire screen space to draw. And that's very, very handy. Okay, now we're also going to look at another function. I currently have insert keyframe set to S. So for instance, if I want to take this kid line layer and I want to add an extra pose right here, I will hit S right here. And you can see it makes an extra frame right here next to this one. So if I wanted to, let's say, what would be something cool to do right here? Maybe this pose, this thing gets really long, like a smear frame. And now I have one extra drawing in there. That doesn't look particularly good. And if you want to get rid of that, you can right click on it and say clear keyframe right here. So we don't have that monstrosity anymore. And then the other tool that I wanted to show you is what I assign to R, and that's the rotate tool. You click once, I'm going to click with my pen to place sort of like an anchor point. So I'll put it at this guy's foot. And then you click and hold to rotate your canvas. And this is very, very helpful for, I usually like to draw straight lines in this direction at a sort of 45-degree angle to my body. So now I can rotate the canvas to do that very easily. All right, and if you get completely lost and you don't know how to turn it back to normal, you can click this button right here, center stage, and that will reset your rotation. So those are the hotkeys and the keyboard commands that I use because it works really well for the ergonomics of my setup and my keyboard. Maybe you prefer to use the arrow keys or other keys, or maybe the buttons on the side of your tablet. Please just use whatever works for you. All right, let's get into some animation. So I'm going to go to File and say New Document. We're going to leave all the settings as they are, Full HD, click Create. Okay. Now I am going to draw a ground plane that my ball is going to bounce on. I'm going to make sure that I have the paint bucket tool selected. And I'm going to have my brush selected by hitting B or going over to this icon right here. We're going to get a light color, like a light beige kind of thing. Zoom out, and I can hold Shift while I'm drawing to draw a straight line. So that's the ground plane. And I'm going to draw the arc of a bouncing ball. I'm going to do it offset from the ground a little bit. You'll see what I mean in just a second. It's going to start up here. It's going to go boom, boom, boom. And then it's maybe just going to roll a little bit, maybe one more little bounce, and then it rolls out a little bit. Cool. And in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of make this look a lot cleaner and give you a guide that you can copy potentially. I'm going to work with something like this, and I've set it up in this way for a specific reason, so we can show a lot of different workflows and tools later. If you want to take a moment to make your own, where you plan out the timing. But if you want, you could just copy this, and you can pause the video and do so right now. All right, so we're going to extend this drawing, this guide layer out. I have it going from 1 down here to 81 frames over at the end. So let me just hold down Control and F7 until it is 81 frames. If you overshoot, you can do F6 to shorten everything. Let's go to here. Okay, I don't really know why I had 2 layers earlier, but we're going to create a new layer where we can draw our ball on. So I'm going to select a black color for the fill up here. If I was going to animate this in a regular way, I might draw a ball, and then I would go forward maybe 2 frames and hit S to set a key and delete that, and then draw the next ball. So now we have something like this using the F2 and F3 keys to flip through frames. It loses volume a little bit, so let me fix that. Beautiful, beautiful. But I don't want to draw. I want to do this really, really fast. So I'm going to do something a lot simpler, and I'm also going to show you another tool in the process. Your rectangle tool right here, hidden underneath that is the oval tool. So we're going to select that, and we're going to draw a ball. But you'll notice that it is filled in, which is not what we want. So I'm going to select the fill with the V tool, and then delete it. Now we have this sort of beige line. I'm going to make it black. Over in properties for the color and style, we're going to set it to about 5. So now we don't have to draw the ball of your frame. Let's take this ball. We're going to copy, Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. For some reason, just Ctrl V will put your ball in the center of your screen, which is a very odd thing to do. So Ctrl Shift V, and then we're going to hit Q, which will allow us to manipulate the thing that we have selected. We're going to hold Shift and scale this down until it's very, very small. Now we have a center to our ball. So I'm going to make this even smaller. You notice when I try to select my ball right here, I also select the background. So that's where this nifty lock icon comes in handy. If I have lots and lots of layers, let me make a bunch of layers, and I hit this lock icon right here, it will lock everything in the document. So you can see if I bring this up, that's very, very helpful. So we're going to get rid of all those lots of layers, and I'm just going to lock my background layer. So now I have the background layer locked. I'm going to take this ball and I'm going to move it along this arc until it gets to frame 15. So let me just copy it, go over to frame 15, paste it, and move it over here. And then I'm going to fill in all the drawings in between. Where exactly do I put everything? Something that can help us out is this icon right here. This is the onion skin. So I'm going to click it right here. And I'm going to extend these little green and blue things out as far as they'll go. So now I have a good visualization of the drawings that come before and the drawings that come after. And if you want more onion skin settings, you can long hold on this icon right here and go down to advanced settings and play around with them. All right, so I'm going to move it, go over 2 frames, hit S, select it on the timeline, move it, go over 2 frames, hit S, select it on the timeline, and so on. You can see I did this sort of funky because now the spacing is really, really extreme. So when I watch it play back, it's that jump is kind of too big. So why don't I readjust the spacing really quick? I'll speed through this. Cool, that's feeling a lot better. Now I'm going to go through and do this for the rest of the animation based on the timing, and you can do the same for yourself. So I'm going to speed the video up right here. Now that we've gotten to this last bit, I'm going to make sure that the ball eases in to its stopping position like it bounced, and then it's going to sort of roll into its final resting position. And I realize that I probably made this final position a little bit too far out for that timing, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust that so that it looks more natural. See how that feels. Cool. Okay, so now we have this whole animation. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to click this icon right here, which is called the loop command. And then we're going to extend it out to 80 frames and then hit play. All right, there it is. I did the timing of this a little bit wonky on purpose so that we can go and try something else. We're going to go in and adjust the length that the drawings are held. All the drawings that are the furthest up in the air, we're going to hold those for an additional frame. So these 2 right here, then we're going to grab these 3 right here. Using the Ctrl F7 command from earlier, we're going to do these 2. And then I think we're going to leave the rest alone. The other thing that we're going to try is we're going to shorten the drawings where the ball is moving the fastest. So let's shorten this one and this one. Shorten this one. And this one, and then we'll shorten this one and leave everything else the same. And then I'm just going to go over here and trim this up so it's still 81 frames. Now when we play it, it should look cooler. It's got a little bit more feeling with the different frames. We have drawings that are held for 2 frames. We have drawings that are held for 3 frames and 1 frame. I wanted to show this because sometimes you plan everything out so carefully, and then when you actually watch it, you realize, well, that drawing needs to be a little bit shorter, or this drawing over here needs to be a little bit longer. So I just wanted to show that process after we were done with all of our drawings. Now we are going to get into a little bit more of an advanced tip. So what we are going to do is create something that is called a symbol. There are a number of ways to create a symbol. I'm going to show you one of them right now. So we're going to right click on layer 3. Let me name these layers something better. Hold on really quick. All right, I just renamed the layers. I have a tendency to just store everything in short-term memory and not name any layers at all until I have to hand my file off to a client or something. So in order to create a symbol, we're going to right click on this ball layer and we're going to duplicate layers right here. Now we have 2 versions of the ball, and that's not super helpful. So let's right click on ball copy. We're going to call this ball reference. And now we're going to right click on it and say convert layers to symbol. And we're going to call our symbol ball symbol. Super exciting. Okay. Hit OK right here. And if we want to actually access the symbol, let's double click on this top layer. Now you're going to notice that things are a little bit strange. There's a ghosted image of the other ball, and we have this little X right here. What does all this mean? So we are now inside of the symbol. So if you see up here, you can see scene and ball symbol. If I click this arrow, I'm back in my main scene. But if I want to go into the symbol, double click on it right here. Now you can see these icons at the top where it says scene and ball symbol. Seeing this little race car or duck or whatever this is supposed to be means that you're inside of the symbol. Once in the symbol, we're going to double click on this little page icon right here. And this pulls up our layer properties menu. What we're going to do is we're going to lower the opacity of it. I'm going to set it to around 20. And then I'm going to set it from normal to guide. That means our reference layer, it shows this little T square right here. That means it's the guide. Our reference layer will not show up in the main scene. This will become important later. What we're going to do now, and this will all make sense in just a moment, is we're going to put something on the surface of the ball. I'm going to put a smiley face. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to our oval tool. I'm going to preemptively set the fill color to nothing. And then I'm going to draw over our original shape. And it's not in the right place. So let me just fix it. Holding shift on this bounding box will keep it symmetrical. And now I'm going to make yet another layer, and we are going to draw on this using these same frames as guides for the timing. So I'm going to draw a silly face right here, very Adventure Time style with wide eyes and a smile in the middle. And I'm going to turn on my onion skins and go over to the next frame and sort of move it. Let me draw it for every frame. So I'm going to say that as we have this reference ball going, when it hits the ground, the face is going to be facing all the way up. So I'm going to go right there. And back in this ball, I'm going to put the face facing all the way up right here. Ooh. Now when he's coming down, maybe it's almost there. Like this. And then we'll just sort of in between all of the other drawings. Cool, so the ball will be rotating back on the surface of the ball that we have in our main scene once we go through another couple steps. Let me make the face disappear after it hits. So I'll hit S and then delete this keyframe. And then it will roll back underneath about right here. And then it'll maybe come back to the top at about here. And then let's, just for the sake of brevity, let's make sure that this smile goes away so we don't have to do too much of this. So maybe it starts to speed up. We can do some smear frames for the smile. And then on these 2 frames, it's going to go whoosh. Maybe he goes, oh. Then on this frame, whoa. Okay. So now after this, I did that on the wrong drawing. So Control C, Control Shift V. Then maybe we'll have a little bit of the mouth remaining right there. Let me fix the loop really quick. Okay, so that is our beautiful smile animation. Whoa! It's pretty funny. It's not moving with the ball. So let's fix that really quick. So I'm going to click this arrow to go back to the scene. And then right now, this is in the right place. So let me hit S on this next frame right here. I'm going to reposition it to line up with the other ball. I'm going to hit S right here, reposition it to line up to the other ball. I'm going to hit S right here and so on. And I won't bore you with doing all of this. So I'm just going to speed through this. Okay, I'm going to turn off onion skins right here. I actually didn't need it that whole time. I don't know why I had it. So let's check this out. So now we have put a face onto this ball. And because I've repositioned it every frame of the animation, this is also really helpful because our original ball, I can just turn off entirely. I can go into this symbol and I can, for instance, on this frame, make sure you have paint bucket selected. I'm going to select like a pink color and give him a fill. So now our animation has a fill to it. So symbols are incredibly powerful. I just wanted to show you that little tool right there. And because it's already tracked to the movement that we need, we can even do something silly. Like, for instance, I can give him a little top hat that, let me turn on my reference layer. Yeah, it's still there. All right, so let's give him a little top hat that sort of like starts to fall off. Cool. Where does it go after that? I don't know, but check it out. It's, oh wait, no, it's not there for the first frame. I messed that up. So let me make sure that it is. Whoops, okay. Maybe it's like this. Very clever. Cool. So now if I go back to this screen, we can see he has a little top hat that goes away for some reason. But you can see the power of having symbols. So if you have something in your main scene that's sort of positioned around, you can still go back into the symbol and adjust things, and then they will move with that original repositioning. And I think that that's very powerful. I just wanted to show you that as well. And lastly, I want to show you a little bit about the cleanup tools that are available in Animate. I'm going to make a new layer and I'm going to show you if I do the brush tool and I do a line like this, and I do the pencil tool and I do a line like this. Let me make it also black. If I want to adjust this brush line and I click right here, wow, okay. Or maybe I can, do that and adjust it like so. Oh, that's really ugly too. Okay, so it's kind of hard to adjust the brush tool, even though it's a lot faster to sketch with. I have a tendency to use this tool for roughs and then the pencil tool for cleanup, and here is why. If I want to adjust this line and I didn't draw it quite correctly, I can just sort of click with the V tool and move my line around until I have something that I like. For instance, on this kid right here, if I wanted to, let me go through the animation really quickly. Let's say I don't like that this line goes in. I can just very easily drag this line back out. So now, and maybe I want this line right here to have a little more drag on it. And then this one too. Cool. So that might feel better. Using the pencil tool, which is Y on your keyboard, or this tool right here, you can make some very good lines that are easy to adjust. You just have to make sure that they're closed. So I'm going to change this to 2 really quick. So if I was drawing a box, I might actually do something like this. Hit Q or V, and then delete the extra lines just to make sure that this is closed so that later, K tool for fill, when I want to fill this in, I know that it's completely closed, because if it's not closed, it won't fill. Now, when you have nice line work like this kid right here, for instance, what you can do is I can duplicate the kid line layer, and I'll rename it kid color. So now that I have my fill layer, I'll lock everything else and unlock the kid fill layer. And then I will fill this part of his coat with the pink color that I have selected here. And now I have a fill, and you can imagine that if you did that for all the different parts of your artwork, you would have a finished image, something that looks kind of like this. And now the only problem that's left is your fill layer still has line work on it. So if you want to get rid of that, you select this button right here, which is edit multiple frames. And you can see wherever these little things are is what frames you're going to edit. And then on kid fill, I'm going to select everything by clicking on the layer or by dragging on everything right here. And then I'm going to go over to my pencil color right here and set the alpha down to 0. The reason why I like doing it this way is because I'm going to turn off edit multiple frames, is the lines are still there. They're just invisible. So you can see I can still see this line. I can still go in and I can edit this line if I need to. I like having that flexibility of the lines are still there and I can see them if I need to, rather than just deleting them completely. Okay, so let me put that back at invisible. So now I have my line layer right here and I have my fill layer right here, and they're separate. And that's very helpful for if I was going to composite in After Effects or render this out for another compositing software. And one last tip, and I wish I knew this when I was first working. If you go to Publish Settings right here, and you scroll down to Advanced, make sure that this is unchecked. Include hidden layers is off. It's usually on by default. So that means, like, for instance, if I want to just render this as a pass, and I hit File and go to Export and export out a movie, then it will only do what's visible. And then if I do this again with everything else turned off and just the line work, and I hit File, Export, it'll render a pass of just the line work. That is something that is very helpful. All right, so that should be everything that you need to know technically to get up and running started with Adobe Animate. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this more technical tutorial showing you the ins and outs of using Adobe Animate. I hope that this is helpful for you making the animations that you want to make. And if you're interested in learning more about the principles of animation, like squash and stretch, anticipation, timing, spacing, performance, weight, poses, things like that, I'm going to be covering all of that in my Animation Fundamentals class at Underpaint Academy. Once again, the critique seats are already sold out, but spectator seats are available. If you'd like to learn more information about the class, and if you'd like to bring your art to life with animation, check the link below and check out the course. And if not, then I hope that this tutorial was just helpful for you to understand the technical aspects of the software. I'm going to be making another one of these on Procreate Dreams and maybe other animation software in the future, so look out for those. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if anything didn't make sense, or if you'd like to know something else in the comments below. Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.